money. Oh, I got to pay for our hotel room tonight. We see that, or I need to pay my car bill, so you're going to do this for me. Or they could use drugs, hang drugs over their head. I've gotten her addicted to this heroin, so if you want your fix tonight, you're going to go out there and sleep with X amount of people.
Wow.
And so it's just this, they're master manipulators.
Hey guys, we are here again with Next Step, and I have the privilege of having Rachel Knepp with us today. Rachel, I don't want to spoil anything. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your nonprofit Heritage of Hope?
Yes, so I'm Rachel. I've been born and raised here in Albany. Left a little while to live in Nashville and just learn the ins and outs of human trafficking, and I just felt like I was supposed to come back and start a nonprofit here and work alongside the community to help educate and get hands-on with ending modern day slavery.
Yeah. So I'm excited to have Rachel because I think this is such a huge issue. We're seeing it arising in our culture now more and more. But I think it's, for me, as I remember being young and thinking I was invincible, and you think like none of this stuff what happens, but it's about the awareness, because this is real. We're seeing more and more people go missing.
Yeah.
We're hearing more stories. I know the Wayfair thing came out. Just more and more things are coming up, and we want to give you guys some tips of how to be aware, because no one is invincible. Yes. So Rachel, can we start off and talk about what is human trafficking, and is trafficking something that we'll see in our own backyard in Albany, Georgia?
Yeah, so human trafficking is basically, in a nutshell, it's the use of threat, fraud, or coercion against another human being to trick them into labor or sexual exploitation. Yes, this happens in Albany really frequently. I've talked about this before. Trafficking doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take you over state lines. It doesn't necessarily mean you even have to leave your house. Trafficking is basically you use threat, fraud, or coercion to lure somebody in, and there's an exchange. So if somebody has a female and they're like, I have a wonderful job opportunity for you, or maybe they're in a relationship with someone and they're like, hey babe, I'm really running low on money. Do you mind just like using the spare bedroom, and I bring somebody over, and I don't want to be, expletive, but like having someone come over and there's an exchange of money there, that is trafficking. And if it's a child, I just want to be straight up and say this: there's no such thing as child prostitutes, there's no such thing as child sex workers. They're victims of human trafficking, plain and simple. So there's no other way around that, and I feel like that needs to be said.
And I love that you brought that point that, most of the time when I think of like sex trafficking and human trafficking, I think you get taken out of state lines.
Right.
Not realizing if a girl and a boy are together and the boy is like, hey, would you do this sexual favor in exchange for me to get this, that's trafficking.
Right. If she doesn't get any benefit from that, he's taking the money. Oh, I got to pay for our hotel room tonight. We see that, or I need to pay my car bill, so you're going to do this for me. Or they could use drugs, hang drugs over their head. I've gotten her addicted to this heroin, so if you want your fix tonight, you're going to go out there and sleep with X amount of people.
Wow.
And so it's just this, they're master manipulators.
Yeah.
Basically.
What are some apps or online tactics that young people should be aware of that traffickers may use to lure them in?
So basically, what we've learned is that any app with a messaging capability can be used to lure somebody in.
Wow.
Anything. I don't know if they have it anymore, but I heard something about the Bible app used to have a messenger capability, and people were taking advantage of that. And I think now more than ever, we're in, quarantine, we're self-isolating, there's more kids and more young adults on their phones, on their computers, and the traffickers are doing the same thing. They're very aware of what's going on right now. And I think the biggest thing is, A, keep your profile on private. Don't have all of your information out there. There's very few things that I have on my profile that are public. B, don't talk to strangers. You hear stranger danger, but that's pretty true when it comes to trafficking. And when somebody does talk to you online, you just need to be aware of the information that you're giving them and what they're asking for. I've noticed a lot of times young people are very vulnerable, fight with mom and dad, break up with their boyfriend, getting bullied at school, and traffickers are very aware of what young people deal with, and they prey on that. So say you just posted something on Facebook and your profile is public, and you're saying, man, I just got in this really big fight with mom and dad. I'm so sick of here. I'm ready to leave. And a trafficker says, okay. And he sends a message, hey, I'm so sorry about what's going on with your mom and dad. I would really love to talk with you about that, or maybe help you out. You don't have a good father figure in your life. You know, I'm a safe man. Like, I can take care of you. And she's vulnerable already in that area, and so she's like, oh my gosh, you know, this man wants to take care of me, he wants to help me, and it's just like one thing after another.
Yeah.
So it's just being aware. You know, I wouldn't say one particular app, but I mean, anything like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, using the app OnlyFans. That's a new one that it's just not a good app to use. So just young adults need to be aware, and minors especially need to be aware of who they're communicating with.
It's amazing how you talk about how they're very strategic of watching, and like, oh, they might post this and then I will go after that, because we're in a culture where we post everything. We post when we go out of town. We post what we're eating. You know, all our emotions can be found on some kind of social media, whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever. So hearing you say it's really no particular app. If it's Messenger, they can use it to message you. Yep. Or if that young girl, if she's already vulnerable, she just broke up with a boyfriend and she meets someone, you know, I love the point that you brought up, like, pay attention to the questions they're asking you. Like, if they're trying to get you to meet them somewhere, or do little things that, you know, like, oh, just meet me here, or I'll pick you up, or they're asking all the information for you, but don't disclose any information on their side. Yeah. Those are some things, especially like online dating and all that stuff as well.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. I think another point I want to make as well is parents on their side of things. I've noticed a lot of parents asking me, what can I do? I feel like my daughter or my son is having a conversation with this person and it doesn't feel right. And my daughter won't let me look at her phone. If you own the phone as a parent, you have the right to take that phone away from them and look through their messages. And I'm all for having privacy, you know, allowing your children to have privacy and trusting them. That's not what I'm saying. It's if something doesn't sit right with you, something seems off, there's a switch in attitude, something, you know, they're going out more than they're changing the way they dress, the way they talk, and she's not letting you look at her phone or his phone, I feel like as the parent, you pay the bills, you should be allowed to look. You know, and this is not going over your child's head to do something. This is protecting your child from whatever.
Yeah, so. I remember my dad used to say, as long as you live under my roof, you got to do by what I say.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing. If your child is living underneath your household, you pay that phone bill. You are in charge of everything. You have every right as a parent to look through their stuff. And so, yes, I totally agree 100% with that. So what are some tips that young adults should do when they're out in public? Because I know we talk about a lot. We just talked about online, but what about when they're out shopping in public or by themselves?
Be aware of your surroundings. That's the biggest thing. We have this thing called situational awareness, and there's different levels to that. I would say there's different colors, but stay on orange, which means you're aware, but you're relaxed. So you're not stressed out, you're not paranoid, but you're seeing what's going on around you and you're taking note of it. Do not be on your phone when you're walking to your car in a parking lot. That's just common sense. I wouldn't want you to be looking down and then somebody come grab you, or just you need to be aware of your surroundings, especially in parking lots. I watched this documentary where it was with an ex-trafficker, and he said, this is what I do when I go in public. So say there's a group of girls walking in public in the mall, and one of them's walking with her head down and she's in the back and she's not as engaged with the rest of the group. He would approach her and say, you're really beautiful, you know that? I feel like you don't get told that a lot. And so she's like, oh wow, you know, and it's just, same thing with online, they prey on the vulnerabilities. Or the girl at the front of the line, she's excited, she's in charge, you can tell that she's the one who runs the group, she likes attention. This guy might go up to her, hey, we're having a party at my place tonight, you should totally come. They're looking for different traits and personality and things like that to approach you by. And these people can be very approachable, you know, and it's not just a stranger, it's, you know, it could be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but in this circumstance, they're very, very manipulative and they're very good with their words and they might be attractive and charming. So I think just being aware of this is a stranger that I don't know coming up to me, complimenting me, inviting me to their house, to their party. You know, we think that that doesn't happen, but I mean, it's happened to me, you know.
Wow.
I've been approached in the mall by somebody who has said these things, and maybe they meant well, but it's just, it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, so it reminds me of that movie Taken. So I always hate the Taken one, the first part, because here are these 16-year-olds, they're in Europe, and she's just giving this man all this information when they get out the taxi. Oh yeah, my cousin's not home. She just basically laid out the plan. And so, and I'm just like, no, don't do that. And so I think sometimes we can think like, especially if we're naive or we just don't have a lot of experience, or if we do, we just think, well, sounds like a good thing, let me just go.
Right.
I think it's about taking a time out and just realize, should I do that?
Yeah.
Trusting your gut. Like if you read somebody and they're not right.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll be like, no. You know, we all have met probably somebody that something's just off. You can't pinpoint it, but you know something doesn't sit well with you.
Right.
Trust those instincts because they probably will save you to not get in a situation you're not supposed to.
I agree with that. Trusting your gut is huge.
Can you tell us a little bit more of how we can join the fight against sex trafficking?
Yes. So I think the biggest thing right now, since this is more fresh in this area, I think getting trained is a big deal. So, I mean, August 22nd, we have our training at Providence Church, and we can do them anytime. They're free. Just call us, let us know when you want to do one, and we can make it happen. But that is the biggest thing, because you can't do something about a problem that you have no knowledge of.
Yeah.
So getting aware, and we're going to have different opportunities for outreach opportunities in the community. We're teaming up possibly with another organization in town that's already doing a great job at that. So teaming up with them, so getting plugged in and just meeting people where they are, boots on the ground. You know, there'll be other opportunities as well, just to, you know, buy products from survivors. So it's just, you know, different things like that. And then, you know, once you are aware of what's going on around you and you do see something like that, we'll have, you know, the Human Trafficking hotline available. We're getting a rescue team together, advocacy teams together. So if, you know, you feel like, you know, military, law enforcement, private investigators, we would love to have them on a team and have some people who are passionate about really getting hands-on with the victims, maybe people who are survivors themselves, that can be with the women in the rescue process. So having different outlets for different people and their skill level and what they want to do, we're still in the process of figuring that out, but we're going to have that soon. Yes.
How can people sign up for the training? You said it's on August the 22nd.
Yes. So right now we have a Facebook page that says Human Trafficking Awareness Training. It's very simple. Yeah. That's what it says. You can RSVP on that. I believe we're going to make an Eventbrite just to see how many people we're actually going to have going. But we'll have that on Facebook as well. But right now the only way we have it is on the Facebook page.
Yeah. And I want to implore like parents, if you are a parent, you need to be at this training. If you are a young adult and you're interested, you need to be at this training. I will be at this training because, like she said, educating ourselves on the awareness piece, us being aware of what's going on in our own community, but also what's happening in the world. And so we want to support Rachel and Heritage of Hope because what we believe in their mission and what they're trying to do, not just in our community, but Southeast region. But we also believe that this is something for you guys to take in. So I hope just if one person watched this and realized, okay, maybe I don't need to take down that path, or maybe that, something clicks for them and they're like, oh, somebody sent me a message and it was kind of sketchy. I don't need to answer that. That's our hope, that you guys will take it, and I hope this has blessed you as well. We'll see y'all again on the next episode.